Good evening once again, everyone. We're joined now in the main interview room by members of the 1976 undefeated national champion Indiana Hoosier basketball team. Led by the legendary Hall of Fame coach Bob Knight, the 1976 Indiana Hoosiers completed a perfect season, finishing 32-0. Along the way, they defeated 7 ranked opponents, they won the Big Ten championship, and they captured the national title with an 86-68 victory over the Michigan Wolverines in an all-Big Ten championship game matchup. 50 years later, they remain the last undefeated national champion in Division I men's basketball, and tonight we celebrate that historic accomplishment, and we're honored to be joined by members of that team. Now let's meet the members of the 1976 undefeated national championship Hoosiers. We have, joining us on the dais, a sophomore guard from Quincy, Illinois, number 23, Jim Wisman. We can clap. Let's clap for the Hoosiers. We have a freshman forward from Hoopeston, Illinois, number 31, Scott Eels. Freshman forward from Hammond, Indiana, number 34, Rich Valvicious. Freshman forward from Rochester, New York, number 43, Jim Roberson. And a senior guard from Normal, Illinois, number 45, Jim Cruz. The 1976 starters for the Indiana Hoosiers. A senior guard from Anderson, Indiana, number 20, Bobby Wilkerson. A senior guard from Phoenix, Illinois, number 21, co-captain Quinn Buckner. Senior forward from South Bend, Indiana, number 33, Tom Abernethy. The National Player of the Year, senior forward from Sandusky, Ohio, co-captain number 42, Scott May. And finally, a junior center from Newcastle, Indiana, and the Final Four most outstanding player, number 54, Kent Benson. When we honor this team on the court during the national championship game, representing guard Wayne Radford will be his son, Wayne Radford. Wayne's out here in the crowd, I think, with us right now. Representing Mark Haymore from Cleveland, Ohio, we have his granddaughters, Kendall and Nichelle. They're joining us as well. Unable to join us tonight, but sending his best wishes from Bloomington, Illinois, Bob Bender. And representing Coach Bob Knight, we have his son, Coach Pat Knight. We'd like to ask first Tom Abernethy to make a statement on behalf of the class. Then we'll ask Quinn Buckner to make a statement as well. Congratulations, everybody. And then we'll take some questions from the audience.
Well, it's a pleasure for us to be here representing Indiana University, and our teammates are here except for the guys mentioned that had passed away. Coach Knight is really the heart and soul of our group, and we certainly miss him, but these guys all contributed in their own way, and again, we did it as a team, and we stayed alive for 32 games without a loss.
Thank you so much. And Quinn has the white microphone.
First of all, I want to recognize Pat Knight, who's Coach Knight's son, and his wife, Amanda. Pat Knight, we've all known since Pat was, let's say exactly, everybody put their hand up basically since he was a kid. He was very much a part of what we did. Listen, this is a blessing. I don't know how we got here at 50 years. It's worked out that way. Our guys worked extremely hard with Coach. Coach was very, very, this will come off, you got to take the love that I'm saying it with, maniacal about doing the things right. So when you played in big games, you never had to do any thinking. You had done them so often in practice, it was natural. You were reacting to the situation as it was. Again, this is a blessing to be here. We're all grateful that you have some interest in it. And frankly, not unlike my teammates, can't believe it's been 50 years.
If you have a question for any of the 1976 Hoosiers, raise your hand. We'll bring a microphone over to you. We're going to use the red mic, and we're starting in the middle.
Yeah, Jeff Rabjohns, 24/7 Sports. Quinn, this is for you. For the people who don't understand, can you explain how dominant Scott was and why he was so dominant?
Where's Junior at? He don't want to hear this. Scott, listen, I played with Larry Bird, Brian Winters, who you may or may not know. I know you know Larry, and Scott. These are shooters. I put Scott in all of them. What you didn't have to worry about with Scott, if you got him the ball and he's coming off those screens or he's open, he's making the shot. And there's a comfort as a point guard knowing your teammates, but understanding guys that play at a high level regardless of the circumstances. The thing I admired about him, there was never a game that was too big for him. He was always ready to prepare. He's prepared to play. He's going to make the shots. The ones that used to bother him was the one, I'm teasing him now, right next to the rim. I used to call him Pooper. He might miss one of those, but if you're 12 to 17 feet from the basket, as good a shooter as I've ever played with.
Go ahead, Scott.
He's too kind.
We have a question up front on the left side from Mike.
Michael Presti, NCAA.com. This is for anyone who wants to answer. As time has gone by, and you were the last unbeaten team after 10 years, and 20, and 30, and now 50, has that grown to be more meaningful to you to hear that sentence not just champions, which is what you wanted to be very badly, but the last perfect record? Does that mean a lot to you now?
Anybody want to take that?
Cruzy, take it.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, it means a lot because we worked so hard at the time. We didn't know, as God will have it, we're here 50 years later. So it's such a blessing. It means more now than it did because of the time it passed and our lives had went on. And I thank God for all our families because we all have lost someone. They had a chance to see us all through our journey. And, you know, to the families of all the players, we've all lost someone. But the love that they started with us is still here with us now, generations later.
Anybody else want to reflect and provide an answer on how special this is all these many decades later? Still standing.
Well, I'd like to add the fact that it goes back to our championship game at halftime. One of the comments that Coach Knight made was, over the next 20 minutes, boys, you have an opportunity to make history. And, you know, at the time we didn't think it was so prophetic, but now here, you know, 20, 30, 40, 50 years later, that statement, that comment was so prophetic. And we just thank God for the opportunity to play together as a team, and that's what we were. When you talk about a team, you talk about being able to bring a group of talented individuals together who use their God-given talents and abilities, and at the same time put aside their own personal agendas for the success of the team, knowing that when the team wins, everybody wins. And I believe that's what we came into Indiana University and collectively was able to accomplish. And now here 50 years later, how prophetic that is.
Thank you so much. We have a question on this side of the room.
Hi, Greg Eklund. This is for NPR, for Scott May, right here. Your son played in the Final Four against a Big Ten team, and as was noted earlier, that was an all Big Ten final. Is it hard to believe that since 2000, no Big Ten team has won a national championship?
I think, who was the last one? Izzo, Michigan State, was the last one to win, I think. Been a lot of great teams in the Big Ten. I'm surprised that nobody has done it. I really like the Michigan team this year. I think they're good at both ends of the court. But I wouldn't bet against UConn. There's something about UConn that I just wouldn't bet against them. But the Big Ten was strong this year, had a lot of good teams, and I'm not surprised there's a team in the final. I'm not surprised.
We have a question right over here on the left side, guys.
Hey guys, John Herrick, IE Radio. I'll give you a chance to impart some wisdom to people that are playing today. This is for any of you. There's so many distractions. There's social media. There's things that can pull teams apart. What advice would you give to any future basketball player about excelling as an individual, but also staying together as a team?
Ditch social media.
Yeah.
No, I say that, and I don't say it lightly. You're looking for affirmation from people who don't have as necessarily your best interest at heart, and that's difficult for young. I feel for young people today to have to go through that cycle of their lives where you're looking to see what someone has said relative to what you have either done or not done. That, from a psychological standpoint, has to be very difficult. If you can manage that, then you can get yourself in a space to do the things that, you can do great things because you can now concentrate on what's important. And I think that detracts from what's important.
Any other advice from young players, from the last undefeated team members?
Yes, I have some advice for them. Get paid.
That's good advice.
Get paid because, most of them are not going pro. So the best thing they can do, go 1 year, win, transfer, go another year, 6, 7 years, get a check, buy your mama a house, call it a day.
I think there's truth in the statement because that's just the nature of the beast. The challenge that we have as the adults, quote unquote, in the room is that for young people to get paid and then leave and go to another school because it doesn't work out, what you lose is the part that tells you got to get through a difficult time. I couldn't play this year because I couldn't go left. Well, you learn to go left and you stay at the school. But it makes it's difficult because many come from environments where this is the only opportunity they have to make whatever money they're going to make. It's difficult, but I've got to tell you, for education, when you think about a young person that's gone to 4 or 5, and with COVID, maybe 6 schools, I don't know how you get a degree, and it really takes away some of your sense of resilience. And that's the thing that is the most interesting thing to me. And it's one of the things that makes the thought of going undefeated a little more difficult, because between social media and the fact that you're looking to change teams and the chemistry that has to be developed, it makes it a huge challenge.
I just have to add, though, to a contrary point of view. I think they should get paid too, but I think they should get an education. And we talk about adversity and all the things that people can overcome. I think people that want to can still get an education, even with everything that exists. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, that's why you're going to university.
Thank you, everybody. We're going to take a question on the right side of the room, toward the front.
Mark Monteith, IBJ. You guys have stayed in touch over the years, but I'm just curious, these last few days as you've been together, what's been going on? What are you talking about? What's the experience been like? How much does NIL come up? For any of you, Jim Cruz, you could start. What's it been like being with these guys again after all these years for a few days now?
Well, it's amazing when Coach Knight recruited myself, and I'm sure he told these guys exactly the same thing. One of the things that stood out with me, because it was in my home, I think Coach Knight kind of took the baton from our parents. We all had good parents. We had good parents. They had high standards for us. Their demands are strong, and Coach Knight took that baton with it. But one of the things that he said that was, you're going to be around good people. And as we sit here 50 years later, well, really 55 years later, because we're 17 and 18 years old when we met, that's having lifetime friends. That's pretty good. We didn't, our parents and Coach Knight, we didn't go to the easy crowd. We went to the high standard crowd, and that's been pretty cool.
And we haven't lacked any stories either.
Anybody want to share any stories safe to share with this audience?
No. Jimmy wants to know why Scott didn't take the ball out on that press against Michigan.
Oh my God, I knew they were going to say it. Yeah, they're still giving me grief for that one, because I was talking to my brother in the Michigan game, and he told me, you know, hey, I know you screwed up, but I don't think the guard should have taken the ball out of bounds. And you know, he's a coach, and he said, I don't know why the coaches would have the guard take the ball out of bounds. And I went by about 40 years or so from that. When I saw these guys again, they said, Jimmy, why did you take the ball out of bounds? And
he had told you all week long. Don't take the ball out of bounds.
I'm an honest guy. I called my brother back and said, the coaches didn't screw up. I wasn't supposed to take the ball out of bounds. So they haven't let me down with that yet.
We have a question up front to your left.
My name is Steve Kornacki. I'm with the Kornacki Wolverine Report, so you probably know where I'm going here. But Kent, when you were with the Pistons, I was covering the Pistons, so it's been a long time. I wanted to talk to you about the putback that forced overtime with Michigan, and your memories of that game and your memories of the national championship game.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your support all these years too. That's great. Yeah, I happened to be the one to put the ball in the basket to send it into overtime. But the most incredible play was this guy right here. The play that he made when Quinn took the shot, it came off. Jimmy, you'd played what, 10 seconds? 10 seconds that game. But he had the wherewithal. He was involved in the game from the get-go, knew what his job was. And instead of catching the ball and bringing it down, time would have expired. He had the wherewithal while he was still in the air to throw it back up. And that was what made the play such a great play. And I happened to be at the right place at the right time where I was supposed to be. Thanks to Coach Knight. And by the grace of God, it went in. I knew exactly what I was doing because I only had one option, and that was to tap the ball, control the ball, and I tapped it off the backboard, and it went in with 0.01 second to go on the clock.
Gentlemen, we're moving to the right side of the room, to the right of the aisle.
Pardon?
Hello, pleasure to see and speak to all of you people up there. You were all young men at the time in '76, and now 50 years later, wondering if you can share any life lessons, wisdom, influence that you received from Bobby Knight that still stick with you now 50 years later.
What do you guys repeat to your grandchildren, or if you're coaching, or what do you hear when you open your mouth, but it's Coach Knight's thoughts, it's Coach Knight's voice?
Well, I'd like to start out to say, but one of the famous things that he said is, and it can be applied to every aspect of your life, and that is this. He said the mental is to the physical is 4:1. The mental is 4 times greater than the physical. And so, I think that he continued to drill that into us. And he was one that, he understood that we would make physical mistakes, and he was somewhat tolerant to that. But when we made mental mistakes is where he had no tolerance for it all. And what's that?
What team were you on?
Quinn, you remember it differently?
Okay.
Yes. Well, that's all right. He's telling a good story. Go ahead, you roll it.
No, that was my comment.
Yeah.
Did he differentiate?
Your turn.
I think one thing that Coach did, and again, it's a life lesson, is he developed an attitude, our attitudes, our mentality, and our habits on a daily basis. And before you become a champion, you have to have a championship attitude, a championship mentality, and a championship habits before you become a champion. And that's true in basketball, and that's true in life. It just doesn't, they're going to give someone the trophy tonight, and they're not going, oh, now you got a championship attitude. That championship attitude started a long time ago with whoever wins tonight. And you know what? Whoever loses tonight, they got a championship attitude too. They're just, one team's going to win, one team's going to lose. That's what makes it delicate. But I thought that's what was great about Coach, because it was daily. You get to choose your attitude, so you might as well choose a good one.
Hey, if I could just say one thing. I took paying attention to details as a takeaway for me, and I really have been able to apply it in my business life and just everything I do. And he would, like Jimmy said, he would drill into us the importance of whatever it was and make sure that you didn't let little things slip by. So little things are very, very critically important, and I can't tell you how beneficial that has been really my entire life since then.
Well, I also think that my most important thing that I pass on to a lot of young people is if practice at 3:30, you come at 3:30, you're late. And he drilled that into me quick and early. You know, coming in late and thinking you're there on time, and boy, you have to run them stairs. That's not a joke.
Is there another question on that side of the room?
Rich Valavicius, it's interesting to see you here because you left the program a year later. What made you want to come back, and what has it been like being back with these guys again?
Well, reason I came back is they are great guys. That's one thing Coach Knight did. He always recruited great players and good people. And I came back, and my wife influenced me. My son said, you need to come back and be part of this team. And I was sort of apprehensive about it because I thought, will they accept me? And they opened their arms, and it's been a great week. And they're wonderful people. Now, one thing when I coached in high school that Coach Knight taught me is Coach Knight didn't cheat. He didn't, you know, he did things the right way. And if you ask other coaches when I coached against them, there's one thing about me. If I'm going to go against you, I'm going to do it the right way. I'm not going to recruit players and, you know, do those type of things. I'm going to do it the legal way. And he taught me that. And, you know, the main thing is he taught us to be good people. Every one of these guys are good people. And they're just wonderful. And I'm so proud to be a part of this team. And it's just great to be back.
Could I say one thing about Rich? So we had our first get-together on Friday night, so this ties together a few of the questions that we've had. And so I remembered everybody, and Rich was there, and I hadn't seen him for literally, 49 years or 50 years. I hadn't seen him for a long time, and so I had to ask, now who is that? Is he a guest of somebody? But when I saw it was Rich and we connected, it was amazing to think about the very final game of our career when we're down 6 points at halftime against Michigan in the final game. And in the Final Four against UCLA, I had bumped my knee against one of the UCLA guys, and so I had ice on the whole day on Sunday and whatever. So I came out in the second half for 3 or 4 minutes, and right at a critical point in that game, Rich comes in and nails a huge, huge basket. And for me to be able to share with him 50 years later, and it really epitomized how everybody up here is responsible for going undefeated. I mean, we're a team. You don't do it by the superstar only carrying us. It's done by everybody, but that play by Rich, and I'm so happy that I got to give him that, you know, my true heart on that situation.
We have a question on Zoom from the back here for Scott Eels. Can we get Scott a microphone, or Scott, do you have one? Okay, Scott, you were one of the freshmen. There you are. Yeah, you were one of the freshmen on that team. Can you tell us how easily or how difficult it was for the freshman class to assimilate with so many upperclassmen and going from the high school setting to practices coached by Coach Knight?
First of all, as far as the guys are concerned, I remember hitting the campus and walking around lost, and this car pulls up, and it's Quinn and Aber and Cruzy. They were going somewhere and said, "Hey, get over here." So I go over and hop in the car. So I get in the car and we go out, and I think we had burgers or Cokes or something. And from that point, I thought, well, this is not going to be as tough as I thought it was going to be. These guys are pretty good guys. But certainly hitting that first day of practice, you know, you think you came from a tough program in high school. No such thing. The intensity level was something you just can't even imagine, and you have to experience it. And I have to just leave it as intensity, because that's what it was.
And speaking of somebody having to get used to something, for Jim Roberson, what was it like moving from Rochester, New York to Bloomington?
The standout memory that I have, when we first started, I guarded Scott, and this sticks in my mind even till today. He rolls around the pick, and Quinn slams me with a forearm in my chest. And I drop to the floor, and he says, "Welcome to the Big Ten."
That wasn't me.
Pardon me.
I believe that.
I know it was him. But it was all good. It was good. It was good to be a part of the team. It was intense, and nobody's going to lie about that, the intensity that Coach Knight had day in and day out. It led to leadership for all of the individual players, myself included. I stayed around to work at the university for a year, get in-state fees, go to law school at IU. And it laid the foundation for each and every player that went through it, because what Coach always said, it was funny, he would change a little bit, but it wasn't too much. He'd always say, "We didn't bring you here to go to school," but that was the underlying emphasis. It was given that you were going to go to school. We brought here to play basketball, but we knew that we were supposed to go to school, and that was a given, and that was a standard that we were supposed to set and keep.
Any additional questions for the undefeated Hoosiers? If you have one, raise your hand. Let's take another one over there.
I'm just curious, you know, there's probably some guys from the Michigan team that you guys played for the championship here tonight. Have you, by chance, run into any of them over the weekend, or would you like to see some of them tonight?
See him doing what? Mark, see him doing what?
Just see him and talk to him. Like, have you run in, you know, Ricky Green might be here, or Wayman
Oh,
Britt? Or...
I thought we all thought you were talking about today's
No,
Wolverines.
the team you guys beat, some of those players are most likely here tonight, I would think.
Today's Wolverines wouldn't recognize who we were. What are you talking about?
Would all you guys say, when you think back to how good Michigan was, that they were a good team?
Really good.
They had good players. They were a good team. I think we had to beat them 3 times that year. And I mean, every game was tough. So I think we all have a lot of respect for the Michigan players.
But you haven't crossed paths with anybody, or?
No, sir.
No, to answer your question, we haven't seen any of them, Mark. I'm going to tell you, in my humble opinion, this is my humble opinion. It is terrific to have gone undefeated and win a national championship. We went 36-0 2 years in the Big Ten. Think about that. You go through a conference like the Big Ten and not lose a game in 2 years, that's pretty strong. And that's part of what built the fiber for us to be able to be successful our senior year. First of all, we lose in Kentucky, and that's one of the places where Scott was injured, and we had been touted as the best team in basketball. What you learn from that, and this is all about young people and human nature, is you don't take anything for granted. And it gave Coach something to coach to the next year. And you've got seniors that have been burned here basically because you didn't do what you were supposed to do, and you were able to apply that and have success. Did we think we'd go undefeated? No. Coach Knight said, if you do what I tell you to do, you're going to be very hard to play against. And that's the way it turned out.
Question up front.
Steve Kornacki again. I don't know if any of you know the Michigan coach, a Bob Knight manager. But okay, so talk about what you know about him and what you think about a Bob Knight manager coaching for a national championship tonight.
So I have a real relationship with Dusty in that he hired my son, Todd, and they were together for 5 years at FAU. And he actually sold Todd his house in Boca Raton after he left. Todd, and he also said he thinks about Todd. There isn't a day that doesn't go by they doesn't think about. So he's loyal to his friends, and he is tenacious in his preparation. And I wonder where he got that, from Coach Knight. But man, I just admire Dusty, and he, I could text him and talk to him, tonight if I wanted to really bug him, and he'd probably respond. But he's an everyday guy, and a tremendous coach. But so is his opponent, that he's going against tonight. So it'll be fun to see what happens.
We want to thank the members of the 76 Hoosiers for joining us here at the news conference. Thanks for sharing your stories and your wisdom and your time. We're going to ask Tom and Scott and all you guys, all your teammates on the right of the trophy, make your way over this way behind Mr. Benson and behind Mr. Wilkerson. We'll take a photo. And everybody out here, get your cameras ready.
Thank you all very much.
Hold on to that.